I'm standing in a field on the island of Sollerön in Sweden. In this field there are at least 18 graves. These graves contain the remains of people with status, Vikings who lived here 1,000 years ago. As far as ancient monuments are concerned, the grave behind me isn't very impressive, but inside are the remains of a Viking chieftain. How do we know he was a chieftain? This is how.
This sword was found in the grave. The pommel is carefully sculpted to portray two birds, and the whole handle was inlaid with silver. Only an immensely wealthy and powerful man could afford such a weapon, a chieftain. When he died, the mourners cremated the sword with him. Fortunately, the metal survived the fire. The artifacts from this and the other graves have been dated to the period 985 to 1050. The goods in the graves give us some information about the people living on the island during that period, but tell us nothing about where their houses or places of importance were.
The people who lived here 1,000 years ago worshipped the Norse gods, Odin, Thor, Freya and others. They believed these gods had special powers. They protected the families, they saw that the crops were good, and they helped them with their fishing. In return, the people sacrificed to these gods. The question is, where on this island did they do that? I'm standing on the site of the first Christian churches on the island. It's well known that the early Christians often built their churches on or adjacent to the site which was used earlier by the pagans. A kind of symbolism that the new religion had taken over from the old. Another clue is that not far from here there's a well. The well never runs dry in the summer and never freezes in the winter. And yet there's another clue, an even bigger one. This massive man-made mound of stones was made around about 1,000 years ago. It's in a U shape, and I'm sitting with my back to the opening in the U. These stones were brought here by hand after having been dug up and piled here, surely for some reason. We believe that this might be the cult place. Our belief is strengthened by the fact that last year a metal detectorist dug up a miniature dagger just on the perimeter of the stones. The type of implement which was used as a sacrifice 1,000 years ago.
In July 2020, we hope to do a ground radar survey of the sites I've shown. We want to see if we can prove that we found the Viking ritual site. But there's also a wider mystery we hope to solve. The contents of the graves indicate that there must have been considerable wealth here in Viking times. This suggests the existence of a significant community in the area. No trace of a Viking village has ever been found. If people died here, they must have lived here too. We'll be looking for traces of buildings. A team comprising staff from Wessex Archeology, UK, 2 eminent Swedish archaeologists, and Professor Peter Jansson of Stockholm University, and a group of enthusiastic amateur historians plan to find out more about Viking Age Sollerön. Most of the cost of this project has already been covered, but we need to raise a further £4,000, $5,000, to make the plan a reality.